We've been talking about doing something like this, and we got a new segment called Throwback Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so we figured, we're '90s babies. We kind of grew up in the '80s, '90s. Sort of early 2000s,
Right, right,
and
right. That's the best time.
yeah, I think so.
Yes.
We might be a little biased, but
It's okay. We live it.
one of the things that I wanted to kind of do, do a throwback Thursday on is some of the gadgets, some of the things that we kind of grew up with, and how things have evolved since then. And one of the things that was back in the '80s, '90s even, was the Walkman. Did you ever have a Walkman?
Mm. I had me a nice Walkman, a Sony.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I think most people had a Sony one.
Sony, and I had an Emerson, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
I had a cheap one that you could not rewind. I think you had to take the cassette out and turn it around and fast forward or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I actually got the one was you can rewind and fast forward on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was a big deal to me.
Yeah, that was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
And fun fact for the people out there, because I didn't even know this, but the first Walkman, the TPS L2, came with two headphone jacks, so two people could listen at the same time. I didn't realize you could do that. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So that was
That's
what
different.
that was one of the big things that I remember from the '80s and '90s growing up. People going to work out with their little Walkman to the side and everything. It was definitely classic. And I've seen random people, not many, but I've seen some random people like that are very nostalgic, like they'll try to bring it back, and you'll see them like wearing them, but not a lot. But you every now and then you'll still see it out there. But as another thing that kind of started in the '80s and moved into the '90s, where the VHS tapes to watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like the biggest thing back then was Blockbuster. You always had to make sure you rewind it and took it back whenever you like got your movies out. Go ahead.
What was a big deal to me, and since we on this Throwback Thursday lane,
Yeah.
was like getting your own Blockbuster card.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I felt so big. I felt so this. I don't know. It was weird. Like I'll never forget. Me and my mom went to Blockbuster, and then she had her own card. You use your card, you put it on your account, and then she allowed me to get my own account. So that was a big deal to me. Like I could take my own card.
How old were you?
I think I might have been maybe 13 or 14, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you can get your own card and get your own movies. Obviously we would go together, but she would get what she wanted, and everything that she picked for her, I didn't really want to watch. So it was like Friday night, school was out. You can get a movie or two. I pick up two movies on my own card, and I thought that was just to have that in my wallet.
So what movies were you picking out?
Man, I mean, I remember getting Space Jam. Was it Space Jam?
Yeah.
No,
Michael Jordan?
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was Spaceballs, something like that.
Okay.
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy movie. I remember getting that movie. I remember getting Beetlejuice.
Oh wow.
I remember getting
Sure, new one just came out.
yeah. I'm trying to remember something else, but those was like Harry and the Hendersons. Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
Okay, I remember that one.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. And for some reason, I always love Scooby Doo. I don't know what about Scooby Doo. I don't know what it was about Scooby Doo and Tom and Jerry. I had to have one of those two.
So they have movies?
Yeah, like they had like little movie. I mean, it was like basically watching Netflix really on the video.
Oh, okay.
They were like 30 minutes each.
Okay,
You just play them, you know.
Gotcha.
And I just that was a big deal to have my own card. Like
Huh.
I got my own Blockbuster card. Like, you know, it was wild. Until I made a mistake and take it back. And then now I got a fine. You know, you get a fee. In order to rent more movies, you got to pay that fee first.
Mm-hmm.
So your fee might be, I think, $1, $2 for late fee.
Yeah.
So in order to get 2 more movies, you had to pay your late fee as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my family never really grew up watching movies or even like renting stuff out. I mean, I didn't really do that, to be honest. I always did it with friends.
Right.
Whenever I went to their house.
Right.
And sometimes I'll go with them and stuff like that. But, you know, because when my family came here to the States, it was all that was new to them, and they didn't understand any of that, so they didn't even bother.
Right. Oh my
but
God.
But with us being in high school, like we were exposed to it, so obviously some of our friends and we'll go there, and of course we'll go and they'll pick out a movie or whatever, and we'll go hang out at their house. So that's how I experienced it. But yeah, man, it's some crazy times.
Mm-hmm.
They're good times. But even into the 90s, when I was in high school, did you ever wear a pager? Or did you ever have one?
I had a pager, yeah. Yes,
yeah.
I did. Mm-hmm.
So pagers were huge, man.
Yeah.
Until I started thinking about it, they were actually pretty big because not only were like, high school kids using them, but there were actually like doctors and professionals using it too. And you would always get that 911 if it was an emergency or something important. But go ahead.
I had a pager, and I also got rid of the pager because I sold it, and I got a 2-way.
You got a 2-way?
A 2-way pager.
How did the 2-way work?
You don't remember the 2-way?
No.
Well, you could actually, it's like a little small phone. Like it was a pager.
Oh, it had a bigger screen.
Bigger screen. You could actually text on it. You could send your message back instead of you trying to find a phone to call and say, "Hey, what's up, Daniel? I got your page."
Yeah.
I could actually respond to it on the screen.
Yeah.
And send it.
But how wild is that? That back then, you got this thing that told you, okay, there's a number calling me. And then you got to find a pay phone. You got to find a phone somewhere. Otherwise, you don't have no idea who you're getting a call from.
No.
And to
you
me,
better have a quarter.
Yeah, you have to have a quarter for the pay phone. It's just wild. Looking back at some of the things we had to do just to get a hold of somebody, and of course that was through high school. And I remember after I graduated high school, because I didn't have a phone or anything until I was like 21, 22.
Oh my God, Daniel!
And it was a little flip phone, like an Ericsson flip phone, and I had like 500 minutes on it. That's all I had. That's all I could afford.
Brother, when I was in high school, I had a 2-way and I had a phone.
No, I didn't have a phone in high school.
I had both, just in case. I was very responsible. I had both of them. So yeah. But what I find is very wild is that back then we had minutes to talk on the phone. We wanted more minutes because you couldn't wait till the weekend because minutes were free in the weekend, or you were free after
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Now you can get a plan so you could start at 6.
Right.
You got to pay more, but yeah.
Yeah, but now we can talk all we want, but no, we don't call nobody no more.
Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing.
And we don't. You can't get 5 people to call you unless it's somebody who wants something. But back then, you wanted to call somebody.
Oh,
and
man.
you got mad because your minutes was getting low.
Oh,
and
man.
you couldn't wait till 9 o'clock at night. And you couldn't wait till the weekend because I had to call my boys up. I'm going to the game. Where we going? Da-da-da. And now, it's free every day.
Dude, not even that. Like I remember, I would be on the phone for like 2-3 hour conversations with
tearing
people.
The minutes up, boy.
Because, there was really no other way of communicating or hanging out after hours, especially, well, for me anyway, when I was at home, you could spend 2-3 hours talking to someone and not have to worry about minutes or anything after 9 o'clock or whatever. And to your point, that's like completely lost now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time you talked to somebody on the phone for like 2 hours? I mean, it just doesn't happen very much.
It's very rare.
It's
Did you have your
rare.
own phone line at your house?
We did have a phone line.
Like two separate phone lines. Like, you had your parents' phone line and then you had your own personal phone line.
You like landline?
Yeah.
No. We just had one landline, for the house. And then when I was like 20, 21, that's when I got the Ericsson phone with like 500 minutes. Like, all right, I called you back. Like, I couldn't talk very long. And then later, I remember I got this other flip phone. It was a Samsung. I was much older then. I think it was maybe 23, 24. I can't remember. I thought that was the best thing in the world because you could actually take pictures with it. I mean, they were like the worst pictures, but the fact that you could take a picture with it, I thought it was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
I'm actually taking a picture with my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of miss those times whenever you could just talk, like, for hours with someone and just lose track of time just because you're having such a good time, conversating.
Right.
But now someone would think you have like 3 eyes or you're some kind of, mutant or something trying to call you. Like, what?
Hey, what you calling me for?
Like, did someone die? Like, why are you calling?
Like, you could tell by the hello.
Like, they feel offended.
Like, hello? Like, what you want? And you be like, I'm just calling to say what's up. Okay, did you just text me? Like, no, I'm just calling. Oh.
Did you need something?
Like, is everything okay? You on side of the road? Like, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
And when it rings, you look at the phone like, what they want? Like, why they calling? Like,
yeah.
And it's a ring 3 times. You trying to debate, should I pick it up? Should I not?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up. It could be something important. It don't even be nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I think we've definitely gotten away from that. And everyone, here's the thing too, that I realized. Everyone says, oh man, I'm just so busy. And ain't nobody that busy.
No.
Ain't nobody that busy.
I'm so tired of people using that. I am so tired of people saying I'm so busy or I meant to call you back. Daniel, I meant to call you back. Oh, you crossed my mind. You ain't know I didn't. Cause if it was, then pick up the phone and hit somebody up there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you end up having the Razr? The Motorola Razr?
I did.
That was a huge one back then.
Oh, it was so nice and chic and thin.
That was more like early 2000s, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like the flip razor thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had one of those, what I thought was very, very sophisticated little phone. And then I had got the BlackBerry.
Oh, yeah.
With the little ball, the little roller coming for the. It was a BlackBerry Pearl, I think it was called.
I remember, but
yeah, that thing was nice too. It say charge forever.
Oh yeah,
I can charge it up on Sunday, and I would say got juice on Thursday. But yeah,
yeah. Those were some of the early phone models.
Yes.
And then I don't know exactly what year it came out. Actually, let me go back. When we're thinking about the early 2000s and the gadgets, I think the iPod came before the iPhone. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It was big too.
The iPod came out in 2001. Did you ever have one?
No.
You never had an iPod?
I wanted one, but I never had one.
So how were you listening to music back then? The CD player?
No. Well, yeah, I did have a CD player, but I ended up getting. I didn't get an iPod because I thought it was so expensive.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting like an MP3 player.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
I got an MP3 player when it had a gig of like 8 gig or something on a 16 gig.
Yeah.
And then I would actually go to the computer and you would download this app called Firefox, I think, or Firewall.
Did you ever have LimeWire?
Yeah. and you go and find your music, and you try to find the one that got the most views and most like stars, and you download it. And once you download it, you put it into a folder on your computer. You plug up your MP3 player, and you drag it over to the memory on your MP3 player. Then you have your music.
Well, actually, going back a few years, I remember because at the time I had this like Dodge Neon, and it had a cassette player. So through high school, I had cassettes,
right?
And then I would record stuff off the radio through the cassettes too. So I remember, like, I don't know, it must have been like mid-90s when CDs started coming out. And I refused to buy them because, for one, they were kind of expensive. You're looking at, $15, $16. I'm like, man, no, that's crazy. I'm not paying that much. And I felt like I love my tapes. And the CD, the cassette player that I had in my car, it was one of those that you put side A, and it would automatically go to side B without you having to take it out.
Right.
So I thought it was like amazing.
Luxury.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, yeah, I don't need this whole CD thing. Like I'm gonna stick to my cassettes. So I just kept buying cassettes. But then I started seeing less and less cassettes being put out, and then eventually more CDs. And I'm like, well, dang. So then I finally decided to try a CD, because my dad bought this little almost like a boombox, whatever. You could put tapes, but you could also put a CD play or CDs on it. So when I saw what CDs could do, I was like, bruh, man, these things are nice.
Yeah, until you get scratches on it.
Yeah, until you get scratches on it.
Yeah.
But then you didn't have to like rewind to a certain song. You can just press a button and it goes right to it.
Yeah.
And then I was sold on it.
Yeah.
And then I have a whole book full of CDs. Just like
it just take up so much space. Because once you start buying one, you start buying two, you start buying three. Before you got 15, then you got 20. Then you have to be organized. You have to take the cover out and put it inside the case of your book.
Yeah.
So you know what you're playing.
Exactly.
And put the CD in. And then you play too many at one time, you got to put them back so you know where they go. Or if you have like a CD holder inside your CD player where it'll play more than one, like it could play up to 5 CDs at one time. Yeah,
well, I mean, that technology came out later,
right, with
certain cars. Mm-hmm. But did you also have a CD case?
I did, yeah, I did. I didn't really have a lot of cassettes though. I made all mine because I didn't have any money. So, so what I did, I remember. Now I do remember buying like tapes, like you can record them, like cassette tapes,
blanks.
Yeah, blank tapes.
Okay.
I bought like a pack of them. It'd be like 6 to 8 in the pack from Walmart for like $4.99 or something. And I couldn't wait to get home and cover up the edges so you can hit record on your home entertainment system, and you listen to the radio on weekends, and they play all your hot tracks you like, and you can't wait. You try to fix it where you don't get to the introduction, like the MC or the DJ. You don't want to get him, and then as soon as he stops, you hear it hit play, hit record, and then you got to wait at the end when the song is over, because he gonna come in and mess your track up.
Yeah.
So you try and get a little early, but not too early, but just a little bit, so you'll think that, hey, this is like a mixtape I made. And then I critiqued that thing so well, Daniel, where it was almost like a mixtape. Like it would cut off just in time before he started saying what he was playing,
Yeah. Like DJ Mike.
Yes. But you know what? Those times, man, was beautiful, man. Like I would give anything to go back to those times because it was less drama. I wasn't like giving all my life to social media. I was playing my music. I would go to the football game. You have to hang out. You'll ride around your car. You take all your music that you made all that week. You can't wait to play it that weekend in your car. You get your car cleaned up. Put about $20 of gas in. Got a full tank. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, when they look at um, their times growing up, whether it's for most people, their high school years, early 20s is probably like the golden era that they always sort of gravitate towards back. So, because you could ask older people than us, be like, what's your favorite time? They'll probably say the 70s, whenever things were happening, blah, blah,
records.
Blah. Yeah, when they were having like records and 8 tracks, Yeah. But as we moved into the 2000s, we talked about the iPod. You never got one. But the first iPod could hold 1,000 songs, which back then, that was like mind-blowing. There's this little thing could hold that many songs at one time in one place versus like a whole book of stuff. Now, I never had an iPod either because, again, I couldn't afford it. And back then, like, they were like, I forget, like $200.
They were $300.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. And like, when you're making minimum wage or free, I was making my first job. They're paying me $5.25 an hour. I was a busboy.
Yeah, I think my first job was at I think McDonald's.
Okay,
and I was making $4.75. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're making like $5.25. And you got to put gas in your car because at the time I had a little car. I mean, you ain't thinking about paying $200 for it.
Because first of all, if you buy you an iPod, then you gotta
buy the songs.
You gotta buy the songs, and because you can't just put any music on there.
Yeah,
it wouldn't upload. So you had to figure that thing out. It was just too much. That's why I said, just give me an MP3 player. I'll start off with that. I put about 100, 200 tracks. I was good to go. I was fine.
And even when it came to like MP3s and stuff, I didn't even. I was always late to technology because I was very hesitant of the new wave. So when CDs came out, I just rolled with the CDs, and I was good with it. I was very resistant to this next thing, and it wasn't until I bought my first iPhone. I had like the very first iPhone, and that changed the game. Because to me, like, I was like, wait a minute, you mean I can take pictures, listen to music, get on the internet, make phone calls, all in one phone? It was just so bizarre,
and it was compact.
Yeah, so that changed the game, and then I started buying music on the phone because I was like, damn, I can just keep my music here too. And granted, they were like 99 cents or $1.29 back then, but yeah, it was definitely interesting times, when it came to some of that technology. But anything else you remember from some of the tech back then?
The phones.
Did you have when it came to the consoles? Did you ever have like a Nintendo or like Game Boys or those?
I did have. Somebody gave me a Tetris, or not Tetris, but some type of system. Atari. That's what it was.
Okay.
Somebody gave me one, and I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out, and my mom used it. And then I ended up getting a Nintendo, then Super Nintendo. And then I started getting into this other stuff, the Genesis and all that other crazy stuff. And then now I got all these consoles everywhere. And then I ended up giving it to my cousin. I felt like it was just too much stuff. And
were you big into video games back then?
Not really. I played a little while, and then my mom was like, well, if your grades are not good, you can't play. So there was a point where my grades started getting kind of bad, so she kind of took it away from me.
Yeah, I remember my parents, because we didn't really have a lot of money growing up, and my parents bought us a Super Nintendo, which back then to me that was like huge, to be able to play Super Mario Brothers on there, and obviously we had to do good in school and stuff like that, but I just thought that was like like the best thing ever.
Mhm.
And granted, as I got older, and really out of high school, I didn't care for game consoles anymore. I just kind of grew out of it. Now I had a friend that now this was going into the early 2000s. He bought a what is it called? The not the Xbox, but yeah, I think it was an Xbox. PlayStation. He had a PlayStation and an Xbox, and I used to always like the fighting games, so we would play that. But really, after high school, I pretty much gave up on the video games. The Super Nintendo, man, I remember when that came out, I was hooked on Super Mario.
I was too. I had to say the Princess. I couldn't wait. I mean, it was just, I don't know. It took a lot of my time. Like I remember coming home from school, rushing through food, rushing through getting my chores stuff done, just to play that darn game. And
Yeah.
it 1 minute is like 4 o'clock afternoon, and next minute is like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. My mom will say you gotta take your bath, get into bed. I'm thinking 30 more minutes. Then before you know it's like 9 o'clock. She's fussing at me. Tomorrow's almost 10 o'clock. Gotta get into bed, and then you come home. First thing you grab that game. And she saw that routine. We kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And my school work was failing because I wanted to play that game. She took it away from me.
Yeah.
And see, I couldn't play with it until I get my schoolwork back up where it's supposed to be. And then once I did, she said, you know what? Let's just start doing this. You can play the game on the weekends. So my cousin would come over and we play that game. They order some pizza. We eat pizza and play that game all night. Like, we wouldn't go all night long, but we'd go to midnight. That was it.
Yeah, I think the biggest two games or back then was obviously Mario. I think it was the Legend of Zelda. That was another big one.
And Madden.
I never got into Madden.
In Madden 95.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I never got into Madden.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Well, that's all I got, man. You got anything else?
Nah.
So that's all the gadgets that we couldn't live without back in the early 90s, 2000s on this what is it? Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
And you got anything else for the people?
No, not really. But like I always say, this is the weekend. Be safe. You know.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and shout out to all the people out there supporting us. And like, share, subscribe, and
That's right.
until next time, peace out.